Peach, I want you to listen to me. It's very important. I want you to know if anything ever happened to you, I too, like the protagonist of this film, would go on a one-man rampage across the entire city looking for revenge. I approve. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is our post-Geekout retrospective for the first two John Wick movies. We do have our review of John Wick 3 is going to be coming out tomorrow. But before that, it dawned on us, we never actually talked about the first two John Wick movies.
No, we haven't.
Or confession
seen
time.
Them, yes.
Even seen them. We were busy when the previous two John Wick films came out, so we never actually got to watch them. So we watched them both back to back in preparation for John Wick 3. And what did you think of them?
It had a very simple plot. You know, it was basic revenge plot.
It is super simple, and our dog just went full ragdoll there. Yeah, it's really simple. I have heard for about 4 years now people talking about how amazing these films were and how great they were. So I watched it, and the first one, I like it.
Yeah.
I really like the first one. But man, it is really just like cut and dried. It's almost like an old Schwarzenegger film, but not like Predator, not like Terminator, where it's like, oh, that's an interesting twist. I mean, like Commando, where it's like, let's just watch this guy who's an actor we all like just murder people for an extended period of time.
For me, it felt more like Kill Bill,
Oh wow, okay.
But not to that extent. Kill Bill was really.
It didn't rip off as many other things out there. Yeah.
I meant Kill Bill was had more cinematic art to it.
Oh, okay.
Whereas John Wick was a bit more straightforward with its
Okay. Oh, okay.
Editing.
You mean in terms of storytelling?
Yes.
Okay, because in terms of shots, I actually really like the cinematography and such in here.
No, I meant I really enjoy the cinematography. I just think
in terms of how the story is told, because
yes.
Kill Bill is jumping all over the place. Suddenly it's black and white and all this. This one is point A, point B, done. Which is kind of what John Wick is.
Yeah.
John Wick is they killed my dog. The dog that my wife gave me right before she died as her last parting gift to me.
No, basically right after she died, not
is
even.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing that can happen?
I don't know. It's is that something that she put in her will? It's
I was trying to think, is there a service out there where, you're going, because she was dying of cancer. She didn't know what day she was going to pass away. So, is there a service out there where it's listen, I know I'm going to die, so when I die, the day after, because it was the day after she died, that's not even enough time for the will to be read. The day after, someone shows up and here, this is a gift from your wife.
Or maybe it's I'm dying. I think I'll buy a puppy and hide it from my husband until the day after I die.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's is that a service that you can actually call someone and go,
know.
Listen, when I die, on this day, I'm going to buy the dog. The dog is bought and paid for right now, but you got to hold on to it until the day I die, which I guess you just got to have someone from your service coming and checking on me at the hospital over and over again. And, it was kind of weird.
But there's a lot of, weird things in the John Wick
universe. There's a lot. Don't question it. Just don't question that. However, even though this is one of the most simple plots I've ever seen in an action film, I think this is a brilliant example of style over substance.
Yes.
Because this thing is shot incredibly well. The music's really good in here. The lighting is fantastic. There are just gorgeously framed shots all throughout this.
Yeah.
And the locations are so good. But the other thing that really kind of kept me going in this, maybe be oh, okay, I want to see where this goes. It was that you could tell there's some kind of lore here. Mm-hmm. You could tell that this whole mob underworld, they have all these rules and everything in place, and you can just tell in the minds of the creators, it's all thought out. It's all there. It's almost like the mob equivalent of Dark Souls, because it feels like we just got dropped into this world, and there's established characters in there. But they're not going to stop and really tell us who these established characters are, but we're going to get the little hints and pieces here so we can, play puzzle pieces in our mind. I dug that. I really enjoyed that. But there wasn't a whole lot in there. It was just enough to, keep me going. Now, that's the first one.
Yeah.
The second one, it's all that. The second one is entirely just here's a lot more of the rules, here's a lot more of the crazy set pieces, here's a lot more of the connections that people have, here's a lot more of, there's this group in this part and here and here and here. I really dug the second one.
It's like, for me, I felt like the two movies were kind of like, and maybe the third movie was basically like Kingdom Hearts. Like, the first movie was Kingdom Hearts 1. The second movie was Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Because it connects the first one to the second one. I feel like it's a bridge between the first.
Well, you haven't seen the third one, so you don't even know.
No, but I feel like,
It's got that feeling.
There's definitely
it's
a build-up.
It's got your feeling like so you say the second one feels like a thing that is there to connect like the two big parts.
Yes. Yes. Like the middle act, I guess.
I'd say, which in all fairness, if it's a trilogy, the second part should feel like the middle act. So yeah, it feels like that was done, like, it seems like that would be a success then, if that's how you felt. But yeah, to me, it was, the second one was, we're just going to dive into this lore. We're just going to show you a lot more of this world. And I love that. And it gets crazy in that second one, where at the end of it, which by the way, if you've never seen these films, when we do the retrospective, it's not like the reviews. We'll just do spoilers and we're going to jump all over the place here.
So
if you haven't seen it, tune out now.
Yeah, sorry. It's been a while since we've done a retrospective, we apologize for not setting that up.
But at the end of the second one, it gets so crazy that if in the third one they reveal that this is all set in some alternate reality where everyone just works for the mob, whereas like there isn't even a president of the United States, there's just the mob boss of the United States,
or like the president is like the head of the table, as they say.
Wow, we're getting into weird Illuminati stuff here. No one post your weird theories in the comments. I don't need that. It was at the end of it. It felt like everyone is in on this. Like, there's a baby in a stroller, and if that baby at the end of the second one just pulled out a ringing cell phone, I'd buy it. Yeah.
That's some Looney Tunes stuff right
I was about to say, it's like that Looney Tunes episode where the little person is disguised as a baby. And I love that. Which that is an amazing, you talk about the really good ass shots in these movies. At the end of that one, him just running through the park and just everyone just ring, just everyone looking at their phones. Like, you've got 1 hour to get to safety. Also, you literally just saw, like, a mother with her baby, like, pulling out her cell phone. You know, like, goddamn, like, everyone. Like, not saying, like, a mother can't be, like, in on, like, the action movie, Mob Boss movie. I'm just saying, like, she's out with her, like, newborn baby in a stroller, and she's already like, mommy's gotta get to work right now. You fend for yourself here while I chase down John Wick.
Mom's gotta pay for your college tuition, sweetie.
I'm gonna do it all in one shot. Although I will say, this is gonna be a very weird, like, thing if they're out there, but the amount of money that the guy offers everyone for John Wick in the second one, $7 million, I looked at that and just went, I can't really buy that as a big enough number for this many people to be going. Don't get me wrong, $7 million is a bunch of money. That is a whole lot of money.
I think it's
But in a world this crazy, it feels like John Wick is walking around in a suit that's worth $7 million at any given time in here.
I feel like it's not really so much about the money, but like the infamous of John Wick.
I don't know the word either. Yes.
The notoriousness.
Yes, there we go.
Yes, because John Wick is like, he's basically like...
I get to be the guy who takes down John Wick.
Yeah, you're basically the guy who kills the boogeyman, which is kind of how John Wick is referred to in these movies. Like,
I did kind of hate that in the first one. They kept going, we called him Baba Yaga, the boogeyman. And I was just like, Baba Yaga's not the boogeyman. That's a totally different thing. Baba Yaga was a witch with a chicken house.
I think boogeyman is kind of like a general phrase.
General phrase, yeah.
Because, like, we were watching, like, La Llorona, and people were like, that's, like, basically, like, the boogeyman of Mexico or something. So it's like, I think the correct...
Is there a monster in your native language? It's the boogeyman. Yeah. That's just what everybody's going to call it.
We're going to call it the boogie person.
The boogie people, yes. The boogies, yes.
Yes, the boogies.
Our dog is walking over the camera cord. Pick her up.
Yeah, come here, sweetie.
You big nut.
Bop. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Normally I hate in movies when they kill the dog, and of course I hate it in this one. But this isn't we killed the dog to let you know how bad this monster is, and to let you know how sad you should be at this moment. They killed the dog so that the entire audience will instantly understand those people must pay. And then the rest of the movie is, let's watch these people pay.
Also, I think the reason why they killed off the dog is because if they killed off his wife, that would have been way too far, I think.
But she was already dead, and it's another stage, because as he says in that moment in which he's coming out there, and he is talking to the mob boss, which that's one problem that I did have with the first film. I hate this guy has taken out 200 of my men, and I finally got him unconscious. Let's tie him up and take him to a warehouse, and then I will leave as you try to kill him. I hated that they did it. The rest of this movie felt like it was taking a very basic plot, and it was being so smart with it. And then it gets to that moment, I was just like, are you for real? But yeah, as he says in that moment, he says, they killed my dog, which was the last gift that my wife gave me. And I had to grieve alone, but then I had someone to grieve with that my wife gave me to help me grieve through this. Yeah, killing the dog was also like killing the wife all over again. It was they got two with one shot there.
Also, they stole his car.
They stole his car, which was very important to him as well, because that connects to his wife.
Yeah, like, she left a note saying, here's something for you so you can start loving again besides your car. That was literally the note she left with the dog.
But in the beginning of the second one, when he gets the car back, and it is a beaten up mess when he gets it back. I'm also happy to see John Leguizamo popping up in here as the mechanic. Like, this entire franchise has basically been, have you not seen this actor in a long time? Let's give him a career again. Because Keanu Reeves was not working before this. John Leguizamo, he was doing, like, plays on Broadway, but he wasn't really, like, acting in movies anymore. Let's see. And then in the beginning of the second one, you've got, oh, God, what is that guy's name? I can never remember. The therapist from Until Dawn. The Devil in Constantine. That insane actor who is known for being... You don't know what nationality he is, because he's like every weird...
Can you, like, look it up on IMDb?
It's going to take too long.
Okay.
But yeah, you all know who I'm talking about. But yeah, he's that guy who you can never peg his accent, because it feels like every, like, European accent you could possibly need in one movie. But yeah, he hadn't worked in a while, and then he's back in here. So yeah, this entire movie was basically just, let's get a bunch of actors who really are good and should be in more stuff, but they just haven't been. But yeah, at the beginning of the second one, when they get the car again, he pops open the glove box, and he pulls out a photo of his wife. Again, it feels almost like, even though this world might seem vague at times, the people making it know everything. Like, why does he need that car? Well, because it's his car. No, there's another reason there. Like, that explanation, that simple explanation, they stole his car. We can instantly, like, it's a great example of using tropes in the first film. Because there's, like, barely any information on any of this stuff.
Pete, you're biting my fingers.
Yes, you are nibbling fingers. But yeah, the first film is a great example of using tropes. Because everybody thinks, oh, tropes are bad. Tropes can actually be very good in instances of
when
going,
they're used correctly.
We don't have a lot of time in here. We just need to get something out there that instantly lets the audience know this stuff. So it's like killing the dog. You don't need to go into any further explanation about why that's bad. I instantly know why that's bad. I know why you have to pay. Stealing the car, okay, there's the stereotype of men just love their cars. And they have a little joke about, oh, how much you love your car. We don't need any more information in that first film about the emotional attachment between John Wick and the car. We've seen 1,000 other things out there where a guy just really loves his car. Second film, they come in, they go, no, there actually was a reason. Like, they didn't just steal the car, they stole the photo of his wife that was in the car. It's like, okay, all right, nice, okay. And also, like, John Wick himself is a massive stereotype. It's the badass who got out of the game, and now they just keep pulling me back in. Like, we all know that, but this is an example of, hey man, this is just an action film that we're here to see some really cool-ass action. If you went into further explanation about this guy, it would eat into the cool-ass action.
Yeah.
So they found that thing that's like, you all know this storyline. The moment I give you bits of this storyline, you got it. Bam, it's all there in your head. You got it. But they did hype it up enough. That's the other thing that I think makes the first one work. They hyped the crap out of John Wick.
I like that they hyped it up, but they didn't hype it up too much.
Yes, they hyped up the exact right amount, I felt.
Because, like, when his home gets invaded, like, when they take his car and kill his dog, and the police comes over, and he's like, John?
Oh, that was after the second time.
Yeah.
That was the first time that we actually saw him in action. We had seen, like, all this build-up of them talking about, oh, he's such a badass. And, man, you've got this mob boss calling up John Leguizamo after he just kicked the mob boss's son out. Again, a trope. The mob boss, you mess with my kid. Like, yeah, every gangster film out there has got that going for it. We don't need any further explanation about why you don't mess with the mob boss's kid. He messed with the mob boss's kid. He broke that rule that we know from previous tropes in other films you don't do. And when he told him why he did that, the guy just instantly went, oh. And then hangs up. That lets you know in that one moment, because you have knowledge of how these tropes work, you instantly know, oh, that's a big deal. The mob boss understands why you would break that rule about don't mess with the mob boss's son, because John Wick is that big in this film. This film really is a great example of how you use tropes to your advantage. But yeah, we kept getting him hyped up, and then we saw him like digging up the floorboard. Another thing, like I buried my past, literally. Him digging all that stuff up. That was the first time that we got to actually see him in action, and yeah, it actually lived up to the hype. Seeing him take all those guys out there.
But like, what I really like was like everyone's interactions with John Wick.
Yes.
It's like he's not so over the top where everybody cowers in fear at the sight of him. But like at the same time, it's like they respect him because they know what he's capable of.
The thing with Jimmy in here.
Oh yeah, Jimmy the police officer.
So good, because in that moment, again, this film does a great job of making you feel like there is a huge world out there. And everybody has massive history behind them. So when Jimmy pops up and you just see the cops out there and you're like, oh, John Wick is going to have to fight the cops. This is all going to go terribly wrong for John Wick. Oh, he's now in way too deep on this thing. And he just goes, John, Jimmy, sees the dead body there. You working again? Good night, Jimmy. And that's all he said. That lets you know instantly they've got some long history there. And it feels so natural, too.
Yes.
And I love that in the second one, he comes back and just does the exact same thing again. Like, almost like literally just, John, Jimmy, you working again? Good night, Jimmy. Like, that's, I don't know. Apparently he's in Europe in the next one. They gotta bring him back in for this one. They gotta bring him back in, and, like, there has to be, like, a payoff to that where he's like, you working again? Yeah.
Or maybe he comes up in like the end is like, you were gonna get like, not anymore, and he just puts on his shades and relaxes in the sun
with
or
his
something.
9 dogs, yeah. That's the post-credit scene. Pete, you're about to trip over that wire again. No. Okay. As the camera suddenly turns, you know why. But yeah, I really love those little things. Or like the moment in there where he goes up to the guard outside of the like club.
Yeah.
And he just puts the gun up to his head, and he instantly knows his name, and the guy's like, hi, John. He goes, you might want to leave. Thank you. And like, again, it's a great example of using our knowledge of how this stuff is supposed to work, because you know that if you work for the mob boss's son, you don't abandon that no matter what. John Wick is so much of a badass if he comes up, puts a gun on your head, and says, you might want to leave. Okay, yes, sir, like, you will break that rule, because that's how big of a badass John Wick is. But yeah, that's kind of leads me into all the little, like, deep pieces of lore and how this world works.
Yeah, it's like...
The Continental, is that what it's called?
Continental.
Yes. Which I cannot... Jordan Peele ruined that for me. Oh, the breakfast at the Continental is amazing, everyone.
He works for the mob.
He's their worst informant. Yeah, that thing about you have this hotel where here are the rules. You've got all these different mob bosses. No business can be conducted in our ground. And everyone obeys that. And it just makes you have this feeling of, how freaking big is the Continental? How did this thing get established? Like, where did all that come from? And it makes you, like, really interested to learn more about this.
Yes, and then you see that there's another Continental over in Italy.
I love that, too, in the second one, where it's like, no, this is a franchise. Which makes me always wonder, are there normal people that go into the Continental? Like, hey, man, I just really need a hotel for the evening, and I saw you guys over, like, we're all booked up. There's got to be something that prevents, like, normal people from going
Yeah, like,
there.
maybe, like, a code word or
There's got to
something.
be, like, a code word. Like, you know what? The guy who ran the front desk, I love that guy.
Oh, yeah.
That guy was great because you just get that feeling like he actually cares about the people who come in there and cares about following the rules. But he's also very much, like, machine-like almost, where he was like, I know everything. Like, every question you could have for me, I'm the walking embodiment of Google, is what that guy felt like. But you also get a sense that he's just a good dude. He actually kind of cares about John. That's the other thing about this. John Wick just feels like a good dude, which is weird to say about a guy who's murdering like 900 people in every single one of these movies. But the interactions that he has with people, you can tell, like, they have some past and they're actually kind of nice with each other.
Also, if you notice, John Wick only, like, kills people who are after him. He never really doesn't kill, like, citizens or bystanders.
I've always said that this is the secret to any good mob film. Anytime that you want to make a film about the mob or the mafia, you have to kind of make people root for terrible, horrible gangsters out there. But the easiest way to make people root for terrible, horrible gangsters is you give them a code. You want to make people root for criminals? Give them a code. And John Wick, you can very clearly tell throughout this film, he's got some kind of a code. Like in the second one, when Common, pays for his drink and says it's a professional courtesy, they're fighting with knives on the subway, which, by the way, is the most accurate interpretation of New York I've ever seen. Because if you were on a subway with people fighting with knives in there, you'd get up, you'd move to the edges of the train, and you wouldn't say anything. You'd just be like, like just anxiously, like, waiting, like, all right, get the next stop, get the next stop. And then as soon as the stop gets there, you would get up and leave. But he jams the knife into him, and he says, if you pull that out, you will bleed out. It's a professional courtesy. It's like, okay, this guy's trying to kill him, but he understands why he's trying to kill him because John killed their boss who they genuinely liked as a person, which is that the other thing. You get like a sense that a lot of these people actually care about each other.
There's like nothing personal, just business. That's like basically the whole thing.
Oh, no. I feel like there is
some personal stuff.
Yeah, like Common, like that's personal to him.
Yeah, like basically like in the sequel, like there's like this code, like the marker.
Yes.
So like he owes like this guy his like.
Which again, you talk about how this thing sets up like there is everything is thought out in the creator's mind. In the first one, another way to just hype the crap out of John Wick. When John said, I want to get out of the game, the mob boss he was working for said he gave him an impossible task. You can tell he was like, well, okay, if you perform this task, then you can get out of the game, then you can leave. But he knew no one can perform this task. And then John Wick performed that task. It lets you know how much of a big badass he is. And the second one, this guy comes in and goes, yeah, I'm the reason you were able to pull off that impossible task. We still don't know what that impossible task is. And I love that, which makes me wonder if that's what we're going to find out in the third film. But he comes in here and he just reveals more details on that. You can tell there is a story thought out in the heads of the people who created these films. So what the hell were we even talking about? The Continental.
Yes. Or like maybe like the plot, I guess. Like
the plot is simple. He goes for revenge. He goes for revenge because these people killed his dog after his wife died.
Yeah, well, that's the first movie.
In the second one, this guy he comes in. And he's the guy who John Wick owed a favor to. And they have, everybody, they've got like their own form of currency in here. And in the second film, you even see like the people who make the currency and like manage all that stuff. Which lets you know like how deep this world goes. It lets you know like, not only do they have their own currency, that means they have to have their own banks. That means that they have to have like their own department of the treasury.
They have like their own phone operators.
That was awesome. I love that. I thought that was an amazing little detail in there. And I love that they're using old ass computers to phone operators. Like old Commodore 64s.
Which makes sense because like they can't use advanced technology to track them.
Exactly. Everything's thought freaking out in here. So yeah, I really enjoyed all those little bits. But he comes in here and says, okay, well, it's time for me to ask for that favor. And the favor is, I need you to kill my sister. Because his sister has one of the big seats at the table, which again, there's like this whole government within the mob.
Like basically there's like a whole underground big business crime.
Yeah.
And
it's not like, when you watch like a normal mob movie and you see like, oh, there's that photo of the guy at the top and then it goes down and there's like these people here and then it goes out to this and, the chief of police is making out that big arrangement of photos of how it's all tied together and they're like making little strings attached to each other. No, this feels like if you turned on C-SPAN and you just saw like, and now the Department of Mob Education will make a new speech and like, now this person will testify before Mob Congress. Yeah, it really feels like that's how this whole thing works out. And he wants her seat at the table, so John has to take her out. And I really enjoyed, like, everything about that moment.
Yeah.
Like, the setting is amazing. Like, they're in some old Victorian-era dungeon.
No, it's like, they're, like, in the catacombs of Italy.
Yeah, okay, so it was that. I thought that's what it was, but I couldn't quite tell. Because it was so stylized. Yeah, but they're down there, and it's not just like the normal catacombs. Like, they have a big, like, Tales from the Crypt style pool in there.
Mm-hmm.
She's got.
Meanwhile, there's like a DJ party up above ground, and it's.
Man, there's this video game that just recently came out called Katana Zero, and there's literally a mission in there where you have to go and kill a DJ. And I'm slowly thinking about this, like, this could be the Katana Zero movie. Like, it really is just, like, lined up perfectly. But that entire moment of, like, she just wants to take herself out by her own means. So she sees John Wick, and she just instantly slits her wrist because, like, I'm going out on my own terms on this one. Again, it lets you know how much of a badass that John Wick is, that she's like, yeah, I know there's no way I could survive this at all.
But it also kind of shows, like, what a badass she is. Like, I'm not afraid to die. If I'm going to die, I'm going to do it by my way, not your way, so...
Which, she's completely naked in that moment, and it was so jarring to me to see her just, like, completely naked right there. And it said a lot to me about current cinema that I was like, I am more alarmed to see a naked person in a movie right now than I am to see 900 people being murdered continuously in bloody gunfire. Like, that was just a thought that I had in that moment. I was like, oh wow, I can't believe that they actually showed that. And then it stopped and went, think about everything else they have shown in this movie. And this is what's shocking me? Wow, that says a lot about cinema these days. So she goes out, and I love that after she dies, John Wick is leaving the party, and he crosses paths with Common, and they just quickly have this moment of, John, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, you know. Just like quickly, like one lines back and forth at each other. And I didn't think Common was going to stick around. I thought that they had thought out so much about the lore of this world. I thought they literally were just setting up like a side character there who had his own movie going on just to pop in real quickly and be like, oh, hey, this is the moment where I intersect with you. And in 5 years, I'm getting my own movie. And you guys are going to watch this scene all over again in here. I thought that's what they were actually going to do in there.
It's possible.
Because he didn't die.
He didn't take the knife out. So.
He didn't take the knife out. And he even has this look like, Which there is a moment when we meet Lawrence Fishburne in the film, and he also gives us a moment of like, you gave me that option, you gave me the chance. Which Lawrence Fishburne runs like the homeless people mob, which again goes to this whole thing of how deep this goes, where it feels like everybody could be in on this. Everybody. Because there's the moment where he sends out the 7 million alarm, and you see, like, Away playing the fiddle on the subway. She gets the phone call. You see a guy who's like a sumo wrestler in there. He gets the phone call, which he even does like a sumo wrestler pose in there. Mm-hmm. And it was in that moment that I thought, how is there not a John Wick video game? I'm sure there's like a phone game or something. There's probably a mobile game or something. Give me like an actual goddamn like John Wick video game. Because there are freaking bosses in here. There's freaking boss fights in this movie. There's characters in here who you could have him like...
like I could just.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's No More Heroes. That's exactly what this movie is. It's No More Heroes, just not as goofy. It's like the serious version of No More Heroes because it's okay. The mob has its own underworld, like hierarchy of different people in there. But then all the people underneath it that you have to kill to get to the main guy at the end, they're all weird, crazy personalities. That's exactly what this is. This is basically like if Travis Touchdown wasn't a joke. That's what this is. The people who are below 20 years old have no idea what I'm talking about right now. Yeah, I freaking love like the little ways that all this is set up in here. Like the idea that he runs like the homeless people mob, but then there's a moment when he's talking to him and he says, oh, well, if this goes below 14th Street, then it's going to be your problem. So it's not even just like all the homeless people. It's like only the homeless people below 14th Street? Or is it just that the mob below 14th Street is just homeless people? But you know that they have an answer for that in their heads. And I love that they give you just enough to start like theorizing this stuff. Yeah, man, I really, really enjoy the lore in here. That, to me, is the selling point of all of this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like simple plot, but like really deep lore. That's basically the John Wick films.
That's why I keep saying this is like Dark Souls. For anybody who's never played Dark Souls, it is just, hey, go and find this fire. Either light it or don't. I don't care. And then you either save the world or you don't. That's up to you. But every single person you meet in that game is like, ah, yes. I remember when I talked to this person about this thing. and then it's like, what the fuck did any of that mean? Then 9 hours later, you meet somebody who's like, ah, yes, when I was in this place. Oh, that other guy said this place. Wait forming things in my mind. That's what this movie is. I really dug this. Yeah, holy cow. When I watched the first one, it didn't give me a lot of that, but it was a cool action movie.
Yeah.
And, like, it was shot very well.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, that's fine.
And I like the way they edited these subtitles for, like...
That was really interesting, that it wasn't just subtitles. It was like the movie title cards were popping up with every little, like, line.
Yeah, and then, like, the important words, they would, like, bold them and, like, put them in different colors, so it's like...
I also love that John Wick, no matter what language the other person is speaking, John Wick knows it. Again, it just shows what badass he is. Which apparently, Keanu Reeves is, like, a genius. Apparently, he's actually, like, a member of Mensa. Like, he's actually, like, one of the smartest people in Hollywood, which is a shocking statistic when you think about the other characters that he's played in his lifespan. So it would not surprise me if he actually knew all these languages. But in the second one, I love that one of the, like, main bad people in there, she's
mute,
She's
so
mute,
she uses sign language.
I don't know why. There's just something about, like, a badass using sign language to me that is... I don't want to say it's cool because then I know that some people will be like, oh, you're taking, like, a thing that I actually have to use and kind of, like, fantasize about. I don't want to say that, but I'm happy to see, like, people who use sign language actually being badasses in films. I enjoy that. I think my phone just rang. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, but, like, in the first movie, like, you see him speak Russian because he's dealing with the Russian mafia. But in the first movie, he was doing that. But in the second one,
he's speaking Italian.
He's speaking Italian, he's speaking sign language. I think even a bit of Spanish, maybe?
Spanish, maybe at one point. I think German is in one of these two films.
But so it's like, it's not just, like, the Russian mafia. He's learning all these languages because he has, like, all these international jobs he used to do.
Yeah.
So.
And it also lets you know, like, this is... Every time that he pops out a new skill, it adds to the lore of John Wick because it makes you go, why do you know this ability? Where did that come from? There is one thing that people have criticized this film for, that it really plays fast and loose with how many bullets his gun can carry.
Yeah.
I'm not a big gun nut, so I don't know, like, I'm still used to guns only holding 6 bullets in there, so I don't know, like, can they all, like, I think 10 is, like, the average clip size now.
Honestly, I feel like this movie did a better job at, like, counting bullets than most other action movies.
That's the thing. So many people, like, point at this one, like, oh, yeah, it's kind of crazy how many bullets he's using. I've seen so many other films be way worse about that.
Yeah.
And also, this film, there's only like 2 or 3 times in which I was like, okay, that's a preposterous amount in there. The rest of the time, a lot of times, he'll fire a bunch of bullets, then it will cut to like another shot of something, then back to him. He could totally reload in that time.
Or another time.
You actually also do see him reloading.
Yeah, it's like you see him like shoot someone, then like take their ammo and refill his gun. So it's which is great.
Again, how is there not a John Wick video game? This is literally what you do in video games. It's like, okay, you have a certain number of bullets, but the enemies drop more bullets that you can use. Yeah, man, it's shocking to me that there is not a John Wick video game.
Also, like the pencil thing, like in the first movie,
man.
Like the Russian mob boss, he's like, I seen this guy kill 2 men with 1 pencil.
And then he literally does that in the second one.
You actually see him do it, and it's like, oh wow.
Yeah, that was actually, whew, man. I love his story of the sumo wrestler, by the way, because I love how he just like could not take that guy down, and then literally had to shoot him like straight through the head.
Yeah.
And then he still started getting back up again. Again, this whole world, it's not quite like I'm looking at this thing going, oh, there's no physics in here. But they take physics and they stretch it just enough that it still feels like there's stakes to everything.
Yes.
Which that's another thing that I have to applaud this for. John Wick, he's such an amazing badass. He still gets the crap kicked out of him.
He's not invulnerable.
It reminds me a lot of Die Hard. Because the thing that everybody loves about Die Hard is that Bruce Willis is human in that film. Is that Bruce Willis is not the Terminator in there in which he can be thrown from a helicopter and crash through a building and then he's just fine. He's not going to be joining the Avengers at any time now. No. In that movie, when he got shot, he would be carrying that around the entire film. In this one, John Wick gets the crap kicked out of him, and every time that there's a new cut on him, that cut is there for the rest of the movie. When he falls off of something, he's limping for a good while after that. He has to go to, like, get actual medical attention multiple times on his quest for vengeance in here. So, yeah, it is great how they do keep him human despite what the badass he is, because it makes the badass stuff seem so much more badassy. Man, the first one, it is so simple. And that's the reason why I didn't get that into it compared to everyone else. I liked it. Didn't absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But the second one, it keeps going with that. It keeps the stuff that I liked from the first one, and it builds upon the stuff that I liked from the first one. So yeah, the second one, I freaking love that one.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like the second one is definitely like the build-up to the third one. So we will see how crazy the third one is. They might even make a fourth one, depending. Who knows?
I don't know. Which, yeah, we have no idea. But...
We have no idea, like, just how famous these John Wick films are.
Oh, they're big.
I mean, I know they're big, but, like, are they big enough to have, like, a continuing, like, movie
so you gotta remember, Keanu Reeves is in his 50s by now.
Yeah,
so
but...
No, he's probably older than that. No, he's 50s. He's in his 50s. So, yeah, he's probably getting tired. He's probably like, listen, I'm glad I got my career back, but, Which, by the way, can we just go ahead and talk about the fact that I love that Keanu Reeves is an actor who is not known for his acting abilities. I'm not coming in here to badmouth him, but people have made several jokes about Keanu Reeves' bad acting before in the past. And in this film, they decide, yeah, just don't have him act. Just have him say like 2 words at a time. Like every scene with him in these movies is just, Jimmy, so I need this thing. What about that? Like that's every line that he has, but it plays into his character. It plays into like, he's a bubbling mountain of rage. So only a couple of very restrained words is about all I can get out. Like, the only real acting he does in any of these films, which, I mean, it's all acting, obviously, especially a lot of physical acting in here. But as far as, like, I'm going to show a wide range of emotions in one long take, the only time he really does something like that is when he's talking about his wife and the dog, and he's screaming about that in the first film. And yeah, that's not his best moment in these movies. That's when I was like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of being reminded right now, like, Keanu Reeves is not really the best actor. But when you need a guy to just do action stuff and look really pissed off while doing it, Keanu Reeves is really good at that. And that's literally the other 95% of all these movies. So he was a really good get for this. Hey, Peach. I do love that he also gets another dog at the end of the first film. I wish he had gotten a second dog at the end of the film. I do kind of wish...
I honestly was worried that the dog was going to die. And the second one is like, oh no, here we go again.
If that had happened, because the second film starts off almost like the first film again.
Yes.
Because it's literally, they came to my house after I told them no, and they destroyed something in my house. Now I need revenge. But they kind of went a different direction with it, and then it does become kind of its own different thing from there. So,
like in the second one, like they blew up his entire house, so it's like, oh, now he has nowhere to go.
But he has to work with the guy who blew up the house, so it is different from that point. But yeah, I was like, man, if the dog dies in that house blowing up, I'm gonna be pissed. Not just because the dog died, but because, well, now it's just literally the same fucking movie. Now it's a joke. Now it's literally just a joke. But, yeah, I am 100% okay with what they decided to do in the second one.
Yes. I'm glad the dog survived.
Yes. So score time for the first film, I'd give that a 7 out of 10. Like I said, I like it. I do like it. I just didn't fully, like, aside from just being cool, it didn't really do that much for me, but it did have some cool ideas in there.
Yeah.
The second film is all those cool ideas, so that one's a 9 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed that. What about you?
I think I give the I think I give the first one like a 7 also, but I think I give the second one like maybe like an 8 because I felt like a lot of the action scenes were starting to get repetitive after a while.
I can understand that.
I mean, like we pretty much watched like both movies like one night after the other, so it's like they kind of sort of blended in together.
I can understand that.
But it's like I really did enjoy the cinematography and everything, so it's like
the guys who made this, Marvel had better be in touch with these guys for that Black Widow movie that's coming up. I do think they've already got the director and everything for the Black Widow movie, but if they do a sequel to that, then which raises all kinds of questions. But yeah, I would love to see these guys just continue, like, whether, I don't necessarily mean continuing John Wick, but just the people who made this, I want to see them continuously make action films together because they really do an amazing job with it. So yeah, I do think that these John Wick films, they're worth the hype. People have been hyping this up for me for a long time, and the first one didn't totally live up to the expectation, but for me, the second one did. But then again, the second one was taking all the stuff I like about the first one and expanding it. And they were really clever. Like, I can understand the action scenes kind of like blending together a little bit and being a little bit repetitive, like just because there's so much action in there. But I still thought they did clever stuff with it. Like when they get on the train with Common, and you can tell they want to kill each other, but it's a jam-packed train, so they have to wait until enough people leave for them to get into a knife fight with each other. Or when they're just walking, and Common's up there, and Wick is down here, and they've got silencers, which, by the way, silencers don't work like that. Like,
no.
Everybody would still totally be able to hear that, but I love that it was just like they were walking just pew, 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 like trying to act like nothing's happening.
Yeah, like they're just trying to walk along and not like alarm any of the crowds.
While still like when everything gets shot, just shooting at each other. And yeah, I thought that was a brilliant idea. Like there was enough like really clever stuff in there that I never personally got like tired of the action. Also, first film, they say it's New York. That is clearly not New York. I gotta admit, that is a pet peeve of mine. When in a film, it's like, yeah, this is in New York. That's L.A. if I've ever seen L.A. That is totally not New York. But the second one, I was like, yeah, it's actually, like, there's shots in there that are definitely, like, Vancouver or wherever it was that they actually filmed this. Probably Vancouver because the subways were actually clean in there.
Yes, and well lit.
Yes. But, yeah, it was very weird to me that, like, when they were on the C train, they were actually mentioning the real stops the C train takes. But it very clearly was not the actual stops. But that's my whole thing. That's very clearly just me. But there were many other moments in there which was like, that actually looks like New York. And it's not so much that I just want to see locations that I recognize. When New York is supposed to be like a character in your film, it helps if it feels actually like New York. Like, that's just a small thing for me. But yeah, really enjoyed these films. Can't wait for the third one. And we will have our review of that for you tomorrow. So yeah, thanks everybody. Come back next time.
Bye.
Bye. If you two die, I would eat kibble. But then I would go and get revenge at the kibble store.